Right Moves Project Management video number 7 is about change management. And we all know change is going to happen. We don't get to decide when change happens. It's really about how do we respond to it. So this is sort of like that problems line in the victim model. The trick here, I mean, and the key is as you go through this video here, is to build a system and a process that allows you to accept changes, consider changes, consider issues, make decisions effectively that stay consistent with the plan, and then communicate those so that everybody that's affected by them is aware, so they're not surprised and that they're engaged when we finish this thing. You know, we've seen, I don't know how many projects get derailed, just absolutely go off the train tracks from not taking care of the changes appropriately. It's a workshop, so write down your action items. All right, the 5th key, change management activities. Right? This is really important. If we don't, this is the place where people fall down and skin their knee and break their necks all the time. We know that there are going to be changes. We need to know if we have a defined plan for change. How do we handle change? Right? You need a clearly defined plan for handling changes and change requests. Now remember that people don't care what you think until they think that you care. Now that's a really important part. And a lot of your projects are going to affect your team. They're going to affect your people. Right? And if they think you don't care, that it's only about you and it's not about them, how engaged are they going to be? Right? You really need to understand. And so when they have an issue or they have a question or they have something that they want to serve up and say, I have an idea that we could make this better, you need to be able to take that and say, listen, let's put it through our process. Let's see if it makes a lot of sense. And if it does, we'll do it. Right? And some of the ideas that you get from your team or the things you do will be really, really valuable. All right. You need to have a clear vision of behavior and the performance changes, right? So what's the process, obviously, for submitting an issue or submitting a change? What's the behavior? What do we expect people to do? How do we expect them to behave, right? And what's the guideline that we're going to use for making decisions on performance? Right? We want to have some understanding there so that we can make decisions and say, yes, we will accept this change, or no, we won't accept this change, or we won't accept this change now, it'll go into the next release. And remember that every change impacts the golden triangle. It impacts the schedule, it impacts the resources, it impacts the budget. And you know, the budget, obviously if you change the scope, it's going to impact the budget. So scope, schedule, budget, resources, these things are affected with every single change. And don't forget that. And so when you do your analysis and your evaluation about whether this is a change that you want to encourage or not, you want to accept or not, then you know, you need to make sure you evaluate it from those 3 particular perspectives. So now we're going to talk about Pareto's principle. This is the 80-20 rule. And many people have heard of the 80-20 rule. But really what the 80-20 rule means is that 20% of your activity, 20% of your actions, right, are going to generate 80% of your results. And 80% of your actions are only going to generate 20% of your results. So if you follow the model here and you really say, listen, when I get changes, right, which ones are really important? If you pick the top 20%, that's a good guideline for understanding what we want to accomplish. What do we want to include? What do we want to change, right? Develop the discipline to focus on the 20% of activities that bring 80% of the results. So it's not anything and everything. Because there's a million things that you could do. There's a million things that you could change. And you need to find some way to truncate that down into a small enough act that you could actually take action with, right? This is a really big deal. So are you focusing on the 20% of activities that produce 80% of the results that you're looking for? And, you know, another way to look at this is sit there and say, what should I stop doing? What should I start doing? Should I do some more of this? Should I do some less of this? When you look at your project, you can take that analysis. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. It's up to you. You have to decide, but focus on the 20%. All right, let's take a look at your report card again. Now we're down here to the 5th key, change management activities. Where were you when we started? Because a lot of people don't have anything in that box, right? And then what do you need to do? Those are your items. They define your X to get to that A+. And so by now you might have a variety of different things that you've identified to get your project to an A+. And this is all about getting to your success, right? Getting those benefits more effectively, being able to trust that they're really going to happen, giving you the belief that you've got all the parts and pieces that are there. This is really a big deal if you don't have all of these things. I mean, it's really nice to have all of these things lined up so you know that you've got the keys established. This is it. This is the plan. This is the process. Make these 5 keys happen, and your projects are going to be a lot more successful. All right, so you've just finished with the change management video, and you understand now what a change management system is, and you understand that there's a need to communicate these changes effectively. So simply write down your action items. What are they? And now that you've watched them all, what's your report card look like? Right? So for most business owners, they look at this and they think they're at certain letter grades and a certain level, and after watching the video, they realize, oh yeah, they're not that good. But now you've got a list of items that are designed to get you to great, right? To get you to a successful project. And it may be 1 or 2 or 3 items on every category, but you have the X. Those are your X. That's how you know that when you get those things done, your project is well on its way to being very successful.